ってきた。危ない。
I want to share with you an experience I had when I worked as a truck driver in Texas. My name is Bruno and this happened in 2011 when I was living with my father. I had a 10-year-old son who was living with his mother in New York. The job was sometimes stressful, and my boss's strong character didn't help much. I used to drink alcohol on Fridays and Saturdays with my father, and whenever I could, I visited my boy. Among my co-workers, word was spreading about extortions by drug traffickers around the area. I had never experienced anything like that. My trips were usually calm, thank God. The only issue was that my truck sometimes broke down, which caused serious delays in my deliveries. But the company understood that it was something the mechanics had to fix, and it was out of my control. One night, while drinking at a bar with my father, a man approached me just before midnight. The drinks had already left me a bit dizzy, and my father was close to falling asleep. That man told me everything about myself. Without hesitation, he listed where I worked, my usual routes, delivery hours, return times, and more. The alcohol almost made me lash out at him, but I stopped myself. The bartender had already warned me about that man. He was connected with very dangerous people. The last thing I wanted was trouble, so I left the bar with my father. I felt that the man just wanted to confirm the information he already had, and my reaction told him he was right. The weekend passed, and when Monday came, I went to work at the usual time, loaded the trailer, and headed out on my route. That time, I had to drive at night and would be home the next afternoon. It had rained recently, so I had to be careful because the road was wet. As I drove, I began to feel strange, very sleepy and tired. I was used to night drives, so I doubted it was just the hangover catching up to me. That's when I saw them. Ahead on the road, several headlights appeared, black, luxurious trucks, 2 blocking the front, with a couple more on the sides. I had no choice but to stop. The road was completely blocked, and I knew I couldn't escape. 5 men got out and signaled for me to do the same. At that moment, the rumors of traffickers came to mind, and I knew my turn to face extortion had come. 4 men escorted a large, bearded man who did the talking. He told me I had made them wait too long, then threw a briefcase at my feet. I opened it. It was full of cash. He said I could keep it, but only after loading a package onto my truck and dumping it exactly 1 hour after resuming my route. Looking past them, I saw the package. It was wrapped in white sheets, and from its shape, it was obvious what was inside. I begged them to let me go without taking it, promising I wouldn't say a word. But the man cursed and laughed at me, shouting that if I didn't take it, the next trucker would have to haul 2 packages instead of 1. The threat was crystal clear. Trying not to show the fear consuming me, I opened the trailer doors. His men loaded the package behind the boxes I was already transporting. Everyone was dead serious. Once I was back in the cab, they moved their trucks aside and let me pass. My biggest fear wasn't the traffickers anymore, it was the police stopping me and sending me straight to jail. 20 minutes later, I began hearing strange noises from the trailer. That shouldn't have been possible. The cab was separated from the cargo area, and unless the banging was extremely loud, I wouldn't hear it. But the sound grew stronger and closer, like it was moving toward the cab. I couldn't stand it any longer. I pulled over and opened the trailer. To my shock, the package was gone. I climbed inside and searched everywhere, but my eyes weren't deceiving me, it wasn't there. At the far end, I saw dents on the walls where something had hit repeatedly. Terrified, I got out quickly, afraid someone would show up or that the package was nearby. But when I returned to the cab, I saw it. The package was now on the passenger seat. My heart nearly stopped. Up close, it was undeniable, it was a body. But how had it moved there? I decided I had to throw it out right there. I opened the opposite door to push it out, but it was incredibly heavy, I couldn't move it more than a few inches. Then I saw headlights in the distance, a car approaching. I shut the door, started driving again, and let the car pass me. Meanwhile, The package began to shake violently, struggling as if trying to break free. The ropes looked impossibly tight, but the thrashing was so desperate that I felt like I was losing my mind. My body shook uncontrollably, and I could barely breathe. I forced myself to keep driving until the full hour had passed. When 60 minutes were up, I pulled over again. I walked to the passenger side, about to open the door, when a police patrol car pulled up. My legs trembled so badly I thought I would collapse. The officers approached and asked what I was doing. I told them I thought the door was making a strange noise and wanted to check. But then a loud bang came from inside. From their angle, they saw the package and immediately asked me what it was. I froze. One officer put his hand on his gun, while the other pushed me aside and opened the door. The package fell out. He cut the ropes, unwrapped the sheets, and to everyone's shock, it was nothing but sand spilling out onto the ground. I quickly made up an excuse, saying it had been used for a themed party and I was supposed to dump it along the way. I don't know if they believed me, but after checking my ID and paperwork, they let me go. Left alone in silence, I tried to make sense of what had just happened. With my flashlight, I searched through the sand. That's when I found something chilling: dolls filled with pins, photographs of people, and names written on them. It was witchcraft, voodoo work. Nothing like that had ever happened to me before. It was so unreal that I never told anyone. This is the first time I share it. No one would believe that a package of sand moved from the trailer into the cab and then started moving on its own. Only now do I dare tell this story. I want to share with you how one terrifying night awakened in me a strange fascination with movies about creatures, dark, terrifying beasts covered in black fur. I spend hours in front of the TV trying to find among all those monsters one that resembles what I saw that night, the night I lost my best friend. My name is Anthony ***, and this is my story. I woke up around noon, exhausted after coming home late from work. My wife lovingly made me lunch. Our son was at school, so we had time alone, which we used to talk about our debts. Our little boy had been getting sick a lot lately, and the medicines were expensive. On top of that, he was diabetic, and all the costs fell on us. It would be a lie to say we weren't overwhelmed. I felt like I had a noose around my neck. My salary barely covered the basics. There was nothing left for a weekend trip or even for saving a little at the end of the month. Once again, we tried to reorganize our expenses to calm the situation. I remember it was my best friend Jinx who offered to lend me money, telling me I could pay him back whenever I wanted, without pressure. He was also my co-worker. We were both truck drivers, and that day we had night shifts. He even came to my house to give us the money personally. He had always been a great person. We had known each other since childhood, and life had brought us back together in the city. By evening, almost nightfall, it was time to leave for work. My wife looked calmer knowing Marco had lent us some money, and that comforted me too. Marco left about half an hour earlier than I did, so by the time I hit the road, we were just a few miles apart. Once, we had joked about racing each other, but of course we would never do it. The company tracked us with GPS, and such behavior meant instant dismissal. The clock struck midnight. Everything was dark. Then I got a call from Marco. It surprised me, and I immediately knew something was wrong. His breathing was heavy, panicked, as if he was running away from something. I asked him what was happening, and with difficulty, he said something was chasing him. He begged me to hurry or call for help because his truck had swerved off the road and into the woods. The wheels were stuck, and he couldn't move it. I pressed the gas as hard as I could, begging him to stay on the line and describe what was after him. His answer shook me. It wasn't a person, but a massive black beast. It had darted across his path, forcing him to swerve and lose control. I tried to imagine what he was describing, but it was impossible. Even at full speed, I knew it would take me several minutes to reach him, and hope was slipping away. I told him not to stray far from the road, hoping another vehicle might come by. I warned him to leave the truck and cargo behind and to flag down any car he could. He didn't respond, just gasped and kept running, maybe through the woods. Then, suddenly, he seemed to stop, gasping for air. That's when he asked me to tell his family that he loved them and begged me to take care of his son if he didn't make it back. Before I could answer, I heard a terrifying roar, and then nothing. Only the sound of a wild animal attacking. My body trembled. My mind painted the scene, but I clung to hope. Maybe I could still get there in time. Maybe he was alive. Maybe I could get him to a hospital. But deep down, I feared the truth. Finally, I spotted the red taillights of Marco's overturned truck, lying on its side in the woods, just off the road. I pulled over but locked my doors and rolled up the windows. There was no way I was getting out. I couldn't risk meeting the same fate. I stared at Marco's truck. The driver's door had been ripped off. Was it from the crash, or had that thing done it? Terror gripped me, especially when I noticed claw marks dented deep into the truck's frame. Before I could react, my own truck shook violently. My heart nearly stopped. I turned toward the window, and I saw it. It was standing on two legs, its fur as black as the night, almost blending into the darkness. Its snout was long, lined with saliva-dripping fangs, and its eyes were black pits glowing with rage. It growled like a savage beast and began pounding on my door. I knew it could tear it off at any moment, just as it had with Marco's truck. But before it could, headlights flashed, a car slammed into the creature, grazing Marco's trailer and forcing the beast back. The drivers had intervened, saving me at the last possible second. I looked in the mirror, praying it was over, but I saw the beast rise to its feet, injured, before darting into the trees, disappearing into the darkness. I called the police immediately, telling them the exact mile marker. They told me to leave at once, along with the car that had saved me. It was the authorities who later found Marco's body, unrecognizable. They blamed a wild animal, but I know what I saw. That thing was far too big to be a normal animal. If it truly was one, it was a species unknown to science. Its closest resemblance was to the werewolves I had seen in movies, but even worse, more horrifying. My best friend died that night. Since then, I have never again traveled on that US highway, and I never will. I had always heard people in my town talk about things they saw in the sky during the evenings, but mostly at night. I always assumed they were satellites, some kind of animal, or maybe government or military planes. I never dared to accept that maybe those people were right. Even my own family sometimes spoke about it with such confidence that it surprised me, but I remained completely skeptical. Then, one day, what I thought would be just a normal day while working as a truck driver, everything changed. I'll keep my name anonymous, but this is my experience that happened back in **1984***. My route was set to begin at 5 p.m. I had gotten home early that morning, so I woke up around midday. I hadn't even been able to say goodbye to my kids before they left for school because I was too exhausted. By the time I got up, they were already about to return. My wife made me a good lunch, and it somehow gave me back my strength like magic. I tried to take a short nap before leaving for work, but my oldest son wanted to tell me something first. He said one of his teachers, his chemistry teacher, claimed to have seen two oval-shaped flying objects pass over his house earlier that morning while he was watering the flowers in his garden. My son described everything the teacher had told the class. I didn't want to be rude, but I didn't believe it was an alien ship as he insisted. Still, I admit it was entertaining to hear him describe it. At that time, stories like this were everywhere, almost as if people had agreed to start spreading them. In fact, two of my coworkers claimed they had seen 2 or 3 lights in the sky during their night routes. Some of us thought they just wanted attention, but others believed them and hoped they might one day see the same thing. I always listened with a skeptical look, thinking they'd watched too many movies, or maybe they were just influenced by all the talk. That's what I thought back then. Later, while talking with my family about my son's story, I mostly stayed quiet. Around 4 p.m., I said goodbye to my wife and headed to work. The route assigned that night was going to be long, but I was used to it. My wife had suggested I buy an energy drink to stay alert, but my body was already conditioned for night work. I never had problems with fatigue. My boss, who was as much of a jokester as I was, explained the importance of the cargo delivery and then joked about what irritated us both, those supposed UFO sightings. He told me, laughing, to watch out for UFOs and not let them steal the load. We both found the stories absurd, but I admit they made us laugh sometimes and even made me doubt for brief moments. Once I had the paperwork ready, I climbed into my truck and set off. I knew this route by heart. I'd probably driven it at least 200 times. The sun was just setting, painting the horizon beautifully before giving way to the dark night. The moon was nowhere in sight, though I barely noticed. I turned on the radio to keep myself entertained on the long drive. The night sky was clear, not a cloud anywhere. Odd, since the weather forecast had predicted rain all night. I suppose they were wrong. It wouldn't have been the first time. Still, I couldn't help but think about all those UFO stories I'd been hearing. They had gotten stuck in my mind. I chuckled at myself for being so silly. And then I saw it. A ***red light *** shot across the sky horizontally at a speed so fast my eyes barely caught it. It was clear and quick, definitely not a plane. I sighed, trying to convince myself it was nothing, just a reflection, or maybe my imagination after hearing so many stories. I hoped I wouldn't see it again. I couldn't afford distractions while driving a massive truck. But then it appeared again. This time, the red light came from behind, zooming past me so fast it left me speechless. In the distance, it looked like it had landed a few miles ahead. I thought if I hurried, I might see what it was. That's when two black cars appeared, speeding past me on either side. They looked like Cadillacs, their windows tinted so dark I couldn't see inside. The first car raced ahead, but the second stayed beside me for a while, as if someone inside was watching me. Then it accelerated and joined the other car. Curiosity got the better of me. I accelerated too, determined to get closer to where the light had landed. My heart pounded, my hands trembled, but I couldn't waste this chance. Maybe it was some new US government aircraft being tested in Mexico. Or maybe it was truly a UFO. After about 5 minutes, I saw the red light again. It rose into the sky, then descended, glowing brighter before dimming again. As I drew nearer, I noticed the two black cars parked by the roadside. I pulled over a little further ahead and parked my truck. I walked cautiously, not on the same path but circling around to stay hidden. After a few minutes, I finally saw it. The *** red glow ** was fading, revealing what it came from, a *** triangular craft ***, about 13 to 16 feet wide and 10 feet tall. It wasn't levitating, it had extended a metallic column from beneath to support itself on the ground. In front of it stood ***, 3 men in black suits *** with black sunglasses. They just stood there, motionless, staring at the craft. A fourth appeared from behind, holding a device like a large cell phone. He gestured around as if explaining something to the others. I hid behind a tree, terrified. Nobody would ever believe this if I told them. Suddenly, the craft's light flared bright again. The metallic column retracted, and the triangular craft lifted off silently, no noise at all, just a swirl of dust, and shot into the sky at an impossible speed, vanishing into the night. It was like watching the behind the scenes of a science fiction movie. I was more scared than I'd ever been in my life. I ran back to my truck. But when I tried to start the engine, it wouldn't turn on. It sounded broken, dead. Then came a knock at the door. Two of the men in black were standing there. Their faces were *** uncannily identical ***, same height, same skin, like twins, all copies. They asked me to step out. I had no choice. Their voices were metallic, almost robotic, hard to understand. Their faces showed no expression at all, like statues that only moved their mouths. They didn't ask me what I saw, they already knew. They warned me never to tell anyone. If I did, there would be serious consequences. I nodded quickly, promising silence. At that moment, the truck's engine started, by itself. Somehow, they had stopped it from working earlier. Without another word, they left, got into their cars, and drove off the way they came. I never saw anything like that again. But days later, I found a letter on the passenger seat of my truck. It said, ***, we are watching you. ***. The strange thing is, I had never told a soul what happened that night. And that's why, after so many years, I'm finally sharing this story anonymously. Now I live alone. My wife has passed away, and my children live abroad. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe. All my life, I had been a truck driver devoted to God. Every morning, I put my faith in Him. But this time, I want to tell you how a tragedy made me doubt that faith so much that I believed God no longer looked upon us or loved us. I don't remember doing anything so bad that I deserved what happened, but I never got any answers, nor the chance to seek them. I'm from the state of Montana, in the United States, and this happened on Halloween night. I had 2 young children, one 10 years old and the other 8. I loved them with all my life. I made sure they had the best costumes. One chose Batman. He had spent the entire year telling me exactly how he wanted it and from which store, and I made sure to fulfill his wish. The other chose a zombie costume, though he refused to wear makeup for more realism. Still, the costume was so good that it wasn't necessary. I thought I would be able to take them out trick-or-treating, but at the last moment my boss called me to make a delivery, since another driver had gotten into an accident near his home and I was the only one available. My wife did everything she could to convince me to refuse, but it was impossible. I couldn't risk losing my job. That money was everything that kept us stable. In the end, I managed to make her understand. She said she would take the children trick-or-treating herself, but made me promise I would make it up to them later, maybe a trip or a day at the beach. Laughing, I told her yes, and that she would be the one to choose where we would go once I had time off. She was a wonderful woman. When I married her, I didn't care about anything else but making her happy. By then, those 3 were my world. Nothing else mattered. I was very happy until that night. I went to the company as usual. My boss was waiting to give me the papers and have the load transferred to my truck. I couldn't use another one. It would have caused issues and endless paperwork, especially on Halloween night in an empty office. Everything was ready. Before I left, my boss told me he would give me a bonus for accepting the job on my day off, and he apologized since he knew about my plans with my kids. He was a good man. I understood it wasn't his fault. It was my responsibility to say yes and take over the shift. Putting all that aside, I got into the truck and started my route. The streets were lively with people drinking and celebrating. I felt a bit envious, wishing I could have been with my wife and kids instead, but it comforted me to know they were enjoying Halloween. I kept that thought in my mind so I wouldn't get distracted. The moonlight was strong, but somehow the road still looked darker than ever. My headlights barely lit the way ahead, and I couldn't even see the trees passing by on either side. It was the first time I'd ever seen such a strange effect, and I thought maybe it had to do with Halloween night. I prayed a few times as I drove, asking God to protect me from all evil or spirits. But it seemed that prayer never reached heaven. Around 2 a.m., I saw a bright light in the distance. The night was so dark that at first I thought it was something in the sky. But soon I realized it wasn't. Suddenly my whole body tensed, goosebumps rose on my skin, a cold sensation swept over me, and my hands started sweating uncontrollably. They trembled so badly I had to wipe them again and again, but the shaking wouldn't stop. My breathing grew heavy, white vapor escaping my mouth as if it were freezing cold outside, though it wasn't. That strange feeling told me that whatever was happening had to do with that light in the distance. I accelerated, determined to see what it was. When I finally arrived, my shock was enormous. The light came from a candelabrum held by ***, 2 children standing in the middle of the road ***. I stopped beside them and saw that each carried a small Halloween basket. But there was no town or house anywhere nearby. That struck me as strange. Luckily, in my truck I still had a bag of candy that one of my kids had given me so I wouldn't forget it was Halloween. I opened the door and placed 2 candies in each basket, stretching out as much as I could to reach them. Then one of the children handed me a rolled-up newspaper, climbing onto the step by the door to give it to me. I thanked them, turned to set it on the seat, but then I heard a noise beside me, as if they had jumped down. When I looked back, they were gone. I thought maybe they had run off somewhere, but I couldn't see them anywhere. So I kept driving. Their innocent looks didn't seem threatening. A few minutes later, I checked the newspaper. The front page photo showed the very same 2 children I had just seen. The headline said they had been killed in a shooting in their neighborhood. My blood ran cold. Even worse, the newspaper's date was ** for years earlier ***. I was in shock. I pulled the truck over, wondering if my eyes had played a cruel trick. I tried to shake it off, but it was impossible. Soon, I saw another light ahead. This time, when I stopped, there was a little girl in a Halloween costume holding a basket like the others. I stepped out to give her candy. But before I could, her body suddenly transformed, covered in severe burns that still emitted smoke. And then, just as quickly, she vanished. I was frozen in terror. Then, I suddenly saw ** another child ** in front of me, this one taller than the rest, wearing a cloak and mask. His basket was broken, only a string dangling in his hand. Slowly, he pulled down the hood. It was the face of my ** eldest son **, but horribly deformed and disfigured. Terrified, I ran back to my truck. The figure dissolved into the darkness. Immediately, I called my wife. Crying, she told me that our son had just been ** hit by a car **. I had done nothing wrong. I never mistreated anyone. And yet, some spirit from another world had come to announce the death of my own child. I never found an explanation that gave me peace. My marriage fell apart after that night. The grief and anger caused so many fights until finally my wife left me. I rarely see my other son now, and that is a torture I live with every single day.